Let's now talk to our correspondent, Susan Teherani. She's now joining us on the phone from New York. Susan, we just heard from the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, and the General Dan Kane. They were briefing on the epic fury, and some more revelations were made there.
Yeah, Eric, a lot of clarity. Pete Hegseth started by making sure to talk to the American public, telling them that Iran can't have a nuclear weapon, saying that Iran was building powerful weapons and drones as a conventional shield for their nuclear blackmail ambitions. That was his direct quote. He said that this is not a regime change operation, but the regime did change, and the world is better for it. He said that we hope the Iranian people take advantage of this opportunity. The Iranian security forces choose wisely. He also said that this is not going to be one of those forever wars. This is not Iraq or Afghanistan. This is not an endless war. I was there for both. This is not a nation-building war. Our generation knows better. He said that he relies on capable partners, which are good partners. And he also says that we have no apologies and no hesitation, words of encouragement to U.S. troops, of course, during that press conference. And then we heard about really the offensive and defensive aspect of the military operation by General Kane, and we can go through that if you like as well. But it was very interesting that he did not rule out, Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War, did not rule out boots on the ground. He said, I was not going to say that publicly. But regarding a question on whether or not America would have boots on the ground, he said, you know, the operation is going as it should, but I'm not going to make any promises. Very interesting and eye-opening statements from both General Kane and Pete Hegseth. And General Kane also gave us an update, perhaps breaking news, that more U.S. troops will be going to the region, and then they will have the amount of troops needed to carry out this operation in full.
Well, the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, did avoid answering a question that was laid out to him when a reporter asked him, do you have a game plan to come out of this war or come out of this operation? He did not answer that specifically. Do you maybe predict the reason why he avoided answering that question?
You know, he said that based on what General Kane said, it seems that they actually do have a plan. And they said that they're going exactly based on the plan that they have been going through. I think Pete Hegseth was apprehensive in answering what the game plan is and whether or not there's going to be boots on the ground and how long it's going to take, because he just believes that the president believes that they should not give that information out publicly, not to the media and for their enemies to know. But, you know, I don't think there's a concern so much about whether there's a game plan regarding this operation. I think the more concern is, do they have a game plan for the day after?
It's actually very interesting that the Secretary of War, when he was asked about Ali Khamenei's death, he did refer to Israel and said that he commends Israel for doing what they did. Do you actually sense or read between the lines from his statement? Because he put the onus on Israel.
Well, we had heard from CENTCOM before that in the first 24 hours in the initial round of attacks, the United States was responsible for going after military and nuclear installations, and Israel was the one who was responsible for going after regime individuals, the targeting. So that falls in line with that. Of course, we did hear that Israel went after Khamenei and his leadership brass after Israel got a tip from the CIA. So in that kinetic sense, it seemed that they were coordinating with Israel, where Israel goes after the individuals and the United States goes after the installations for that initial attack, first round of attack.
Actually, the U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth was indeed asked about boots on the ground. He began by saying no U.S. troops on the ground in Iran now, but we'll go as far as we need to. That was the statement that he put out there. And he also said that the U.S. war against Iran is not a democracy-building war, but it's dealing with its cause. Susan Teherani, we'll have to leave it there. I'll talk to you later. Thank you.